This is a LEGO Ninjago minifigure from 2011, and this is a LEGO Ninjago minifigure from 2024. Do you notice any differences? Apart from the colour, they look barely like the same character, yet they are. So today, we're going to take a look at the evolution of LEGO Ninjago minifigures across the theme's 13-year run, and see just how much a decade and a bit can change something. Without further ado, let's go. In January 2011, LEGO launched a small little theme called Ninjago, and I think it's safe to say no one back then had any idea of what a juggernaut this theme would become. The ninja suits were simple but effective, featuring only 4 pieces each. The torso and leg printing were minimalistic, featuring each of their respective logos on the front, and their hood pieces were reuses from the original ninja sub-theme from LEGO Castle in 1998. They have a singular clip on the back which can be used to hold swords or the golden weapons. It's easy to dismiss these suits because of their simplicity, but these suits laid the groundwork for everyone after it, and I doubt that there's a single Ninjago fan that doesn't find these charming. We also got the DX suits this year, which had the same outline as the former suits, but were surprisingly well detailed, with the golden dragon printing on the front and each ninja's name on the back. It never ceases to amaze me just how great the DX suits look, especially considering they were released way back in 2011. 2012 was the year Ninjago minifigures changed forever, because now they introduced shoulder pads. The shoulder pads were capable of holding 2 swords in a cross shape, and the ninja hood could be easily slid over them. These shoulder pads were very good, because now the swords didn't stick out nearly as much as the original hoods, and these looked very stylish. And in fact, they are still in use even 12 years later, being on the Rising Dragon Strike figures earlier in 2024. And as you'll soon see, this was just the beginning of a long line of shoulder armour. The ninjas' masks were also great this season, featuring each ninja's primary colour along with either a silver or gold printed 3-point star shape. This piece would appear many times, sometimes printed and sometimes not, until 2017, where it last appeared on Golden Kai and in the original Ninjago City set. The ninjas' torsos and legs were also highly detailed this year. Apart from Lloyd, Kai's has to be my favourite with the dark red. We also got the NRG suits, which feature the same pieces as the ZX ones, minus the shoulder pads, but with all new printing on the hoods, face, torso and legs. There were also the Kendo Ninja in some sets, which are just the pilot suits with armour on top. 2012 was definitely a game-changing year for LEGO Ninjago minifigures. 2013 didn't bring any radical changes, but the suits were still good. Piece-wise, they were the same as 2012, but of course with all new printing. These suits were known as the kimono robes, and they look great, featuring primarily black with just small highlights of the ninjas' respective colours. Lloyd's kimono outfit was exclusive to a book, and we also got a special version of Lloyd, his golden form, which was included in 2 sets. Like I said, this year didn't bring any radical changes, but it started a trend that continued in Ninjago for many years, which we'll talk about soon. 2014 really shook things up a bit, because they introduced the concept of half masks for the ninja. This piece was honestly very game changing, and it is still being used in sets even 10 years later. We also got the ninja's hairpieces in physical form finally. Jay, Cole and Zane's hair already existed in those colours, and Lloyd's already existed but didn't exist in tan. Also, Kai's was a brand new piece, which didn't really look like the show version at all, but it was nice to finally have it in physical form. These figures also noticeably lack leg printing, which is pretty disappointing. There's also a lack of shoulder pads, which seems a bit odd to me. But this was the year we also got the first of the stone armour suits, which are like better versions of the regular rebooted suits. Sadly, no leg printing on Lloyd and Zane, but that is a relatively easy fix if you have extra versions of some of their other suits. And stone armour Kai, Cole and Jay all have leg printing because they were released as special figures separately. And of course, Rebooted had the ninja all turn golden in one particular episode, and we would get Golden Kai in 2017 and Golden Zane in 2020. Strangely enough, there is still no Golden Cole or Jay, and still no half mask piece in gold, so fingers crossed they appear soon. Maybe in the next Ninjago City set, if we're lucky. And then in 2015 there was Season 4, which was interesting because there were 2 sets of robes this season. First with the tournament robes, which continues the trend I mentioned before, by using the same headgear style as the previous season, just with altered outfits. And I think the sleeveless look works brilliantly here. Then there were the jungle robes, also known as the Zuken robes, which reused the hood pieces from seasons 1 and 2, but now they're all one plain colour with a printed symbol on each. These also lack armour except for Zane, who has the classic shoulder pads, and Kai, who has a shoulder padless sword holder, weirdly enough. I think both were good suits, and it was nice to see the continuation of the half mask, half hair combo, which they would use interchangeably with their main hoods throughout the following years. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, please consider leaving a like or commenting what your favourite style of ninja suit is. Thanks. Then in 2015 was Season 5, which brought us some of my favourite ninja suits to date, the Deepstone variants. They used the same shoulder pads as Season 1, but are recoloured in pure black, and instead of the classic hood piece, they introduced a brand new dual moulded hood, with black as the base and the ninja's primary colour wrapped around in bands, which looks fantastic. On top of that, we got the Air Jutsu suits as well, that reused the classic hood pieces once again, but this time with no printing at all. And I forgot to mention that Nia's suit is the major exception to the rest, as she doesn't utilise black at all, which is an annoying inconsistency, but I think it actually gave us one of the best ninja suits ever made, so I can't complain. Season 6 also brought some of my favourite suits, the Skybound outfits, also known as the Destiny robes. Like most former suits, it takes the previous one and basically adds to it. The mask piece is the same here as Season 5, but now the ninja have their primary colour added to their arms and it looks great. Also, this is the first time since 2012 that they introduced a brand new shoulder pad piece. This is a great looking piece, with a pauldron on one side and it can hold two swords facing the same way on the back. These are some of the cleanest looking ninja suits, and I think the new shoulder pad piece really helped accentuate their sleek designs. And then after that, there were the Day of the Departed suits, which used basically the same template as the previous season's suits, except the Skybound shoulder pads are now recoloured in brown. And as a semi-related note, these shoulder pads also got recoloured in blue for a LEGO Thor Ragnarok set, which I find kind of fascinating. Anyway, the ninjas' hoods this season are the same piece as previously, but they are no longer black with their primary colour. They are now different shades of their primary colour, like blue and dark blue for example. Except Zane, who has white and silver, and Nia, who reverts to her Season 5 hood strangely. These are actually some of the greatest ninja suits ever, because they are like more updated versions of their Pilot and ZX suits. Lloyd's body in particular makes for a great way to make a custom Pilot Lloyd out of official pieces. And I have to say that Nia's suit is one of the all-time best looking Ninjago minifigures to me. I absolutely love the way the Azure contrasts with the dark red. We also got Air Jutsu suits for Lloyd and Nia in the Air Jutsu Battlegrounds, which is a very good thing. I wish they'd do it again. Where's Spinjitzu Slam Cole and Nia? Where's Spinjitzu Burst Jay, Zane and Nia? Where's epic battle versions of Lloyd and Nia? The list goes on and on. Also this season we got Cole RX, which is a slight but very cool variation of his regular suit. Whilst Day of the Departed itself may have been a letdown, the sets as usual absolutely rocked. Then in 2017 we got Ninjago Season 7, and once again the ninja used the hoods from the previous season here, but with a different outfit. Interestingly, they ditched the Skybound shoulder pads and went back to the original style shoulder pads, which is a bit of a strange choice but a good one nonetheless. All the suits this time around have black arms, which is thankfully consistent throughout all of them. And another thing is the printing on all these suits is almost excessively detailed. I think these ninja suits have the most detail per square centimetre out of all of them. And just like Day of the Departed, the show itself was a bit lackluster, but the sets delivered. And then there was the LEGO Ninjago movie, which completely revamps the ninja's designs. Gone were the days of bright colours and shoulder pads even, because now the ninja had a much more slick and streamlined design, with each ninja being primarily black with little bits of their main colour on there. Except Zane, who was all white for some reason, and Nia, who was mostly dark grey. They also introduced the new two-piece hood, which looks way oversized when you look at either of the halves, but when they're actually on there together they make a very nice round shape. I do think this actually did a great job modernising them, whilst also dialling the detail back a bit from Season 7. Weirdly enough though, only Kai gets shoulder pads, but Zane has a bow and arrow all of a sudden as well, and Nia gets a cloth piece around her legs that would only persist for 1/3 of the season. So I kind of have a lot of strange choices consistency wise. And one last thing I want to point out is that Nia had a half mask and hair in a lot of the posters, but in reality she never wore that in the movie or any of the sets. Why was that done? I really don't know. After that we were granted with Season 8, which took the Ninjago movie designs and continued on with their style. Now instead of being primarily black with their main colours as highlights, they are primarily their main colours with black as highlights. Lloyd in particular is almost an exact colour swap. All the ninja have black stripes on their hoods with printed symbols on them, and interestingly they pull an Uno reverse card and go back to the Skybound shoulder pads instead of the classic ones, which I do think looks cool here. except for Zane, who still uses a quiver for some reason. Nia also still has the aforementioned cloth skirt piece for the final time in this season, and I do think these suits achieve a great balance between sleek and somewhat muted modernism, like the movie suits, and the more cartoonish and bright colours of the previous seasons. And despite those bright colours, they worked well for the season's grim tone. And I think this is where I will leave off today. This is yet another video I didn't really want to separate into parts, but I feel I have to because of time constraints. So let me know in the comments what your favourite style of suit is so far. I would love to hear which versions you prefer. And leave a like if you would like to see a part 2. That's been all for today, folks. Have a great day and see you next week.